What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Final Pick Podcast. I am your host, Zachary, and I'm here with, as always, my co-host today.
What's up, guys? It's Van.
And, today we're doing the final two divisions for basically our preview. A week from today, we finally have some NFL football back. It might be preseason, might be Hall of Fame game, might not have anybody playing, but it's going to be good to have football back. So we're going to go ahead and preview the AFC and NFC North divisions today. But before we do, we've had some news happen within the last week of the NFL. For starters, today, DK Metcalf and the Seattle Seahawks agreed on a contract extension, 3 years, $72 million. Congrats to DK. I think he's now ranked in the top 10. I don't know exactly where in the NFL per year in salary. What do you think of that contract?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, compared to what everybody else is getting paid, DK deserves right around that $24 million range. No complaints about that, but good for DK. He's on a very bad team, but they have pieces. They had a good draft this year, and it's good for DK.
Yeah, and now that I actually thought of it, Chris Carson did recently retire, so, I mean, congrats retirement. It's unfortunate why he had to retire, but hopefully he can get healthy post-retirement. It's probably the right move for him to retire due to just the injuries he's had throughout his career.
Definitely the right move.
But I was actually kind of surprised how cheap it was. I thought I think it's a fair contract. I just thought he was going to break the market a lot more because I would have thought he would have made more than AJ Brown. I don't think he's better than AJ Brown personally, but I thought he would have made more than him. So I'm kind of surprised how cheap the contract was. But I mean, what is that? $24 million? I mean, it's still a good amount of money in the NFL, but also brings into question, like, what's next with Deebo Samuel and Derwin James? Those two players plus DK, we're basically saying, yeah, they're holding out or holding in, I should say. Not really going to be practicing until they get their extensions. So it's going to be interesting to see how this affects the potential Deebo Samuel contract and also Derwin James when he's going to get his contract extension.
Do you think Stephon Diggs feels kind of stupid right
now? For his contract?
I mean, it's the same as DK's, but he's miles ahead of DK.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he'll get his extension, he'll get probably some type of change.
I mean, here's the thing: Terry McLaurin's right under DK, AJ Brown's right over DK. I mean, I think that's what DK should be getting paid in this market. But I think Stephon Diggs made a mistake signing so early after that Christian Kirk contract.
Yeah, and Stephon Diggs will probably get some type of rework on his contract sooner than later. He's just that type of receiver that he deserves some type of rework. But also another extension happened this week. Kyler Murray, he got a big time extension. I don't remember the numbers at the top of my head, but didn't write those down. But he got a huge extension.
46 a year. 46 and a half a year.
Yeah, and he has an interesting clause in his contract that's kind of gone over the place that he has to do minimum 4 hours. Is it 4 hours a week, right?
It's 4 hours of game foot or studying a week.
Outside the facilities.
Yes.
So obviously inside the facilities, you're always going to be doing your prep and watching, but it kind of brings into question, like, is he doing his homework outside of basically his work, So they added that clause. I think it's interesting. I don't know if the whole media is reading into it too much than it needs to be, but the fact that it is in the clause probably does speak a little something.
Maybe it speaks a little something, but that man held his own press conference today unexpectedly, saying it had nothing to do with that. So I don't feel like you'd do that, especially if you had a problem staying in the film room. I feel like that was just something that was in there as like a safety. I really don't feel like it was a problem with him, but I feel like it was more. It was more just something put in to make Cardinals feel like they spent their money well.
I disagree with the fact that because he did the press conference, made anything. You do that press conference no matter what. You're saving face, right? You're saving face for certain. I don't know if a brand deal's gonna make a big deal over it, but you're just saving face. You don't want to look like the bad guy. And I also don't know how much I necessarily liked his press conference because it kind of almost seemed like he was trying to basically like he was talking about his record, stuff like that. I don't know. When that clause is in his contract, it almost seemed like he was trying to brag a bit in a sense in his press conference. I don't know if that's the way he meant to come off, but to his credit though, he has been extremely successful, and I mean him saying that proves why he's worth that contract. And I mean, if he isn't studying, it still is pretty impressive what he's able to do on the field.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
goon.
but I mean, I wouldn't read too much into it. I also don't know even if the Cardinals were to. I don't even know if they would actually enforce it per se. Like if he isn't quote unquote
Yeah,
studying.
what are they gonna do? Yeah, we're taking your contract back and trading you. No.
Well, the guarantees would go away, but I don't know how you can really even enforce it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I feel like he's already doing that shit. I feel like that was just something that was blown out of proportion by media.
Yeah, and I think the Kyler Murray though, that contract also serves as the baseline for potential Lamar Jackson contract. He basically went out today and he didn't necessarily say it, but he kind of insinuated that, yeah, I'm not holding out for now, but there's going to be a certain time frame that if I don't have a contract done, which he does expect by the beginning of the season, that he's not going to risk his body. Is basically what he was, insinuating, that he'll probably end up holding out at some point if contracts not get done, which would definitely be interesting. We obviously saw the Ravens last year without Lamar Jackson. They struggled going into December. They were number one seed in the AFC. Lamar goes out for the last 5 weeks. They go 0-5, miss the playoffs. Now, also injuries were just a huge thing to the Ravens overall. Last year, we're going to get into the Ravens more later in this podcast. But Lamar is definitely a huge part of what the Ravens are doing. So I think the Kyler Murray contract might help them a little bit. It's the baseline for potential Lamar Jackson extension.
It might help Lamar. It might not help the Ravens, but then again, it's not affecting Lamar. We'll talk about it later. He's not there for the money. He's not worried about a contract getting done. He's the one that's actually prolonging it, from what I hear. So
he doesn't have an agent, which prolongs stuff. Not working with an agent.
Definitely prolonged stuff, but at the same time, it's something that he just doesn't care about right now because he knows more. He believes in his game, and he knows that as the years go on, that cap goes up. So he's in no rush.
Yeah, and we'll get to it in a second. But one last thing I want to say about Lamar while it's on my mind. I will not play a game if I'm him until I get a contract because the way he plays, he's going to get hit so much. I'm not risking my body without getting that extension.
I feel like the extension will get done before the season starts, though.
I think it will. Next up, Julio Jones. I will say that he is now officially washed after seeing that he's wearing number 85. But he did sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, another weapon for Tom Brady. Obviously, they got Mike Evans out there. Chris Godwin's going to come back at some point. Great news is he wasn't on the PUP list, if I'm not mistaken, which means that his recovery is going very well. You also have people like I'm trying to think of my head. They brought in Russell Gage, who's a great signing for them. They slapped Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller.
They brought back Rashad
Perriman. They got a stacked room right there, receivers. So I don't even know if I'm pretty sure he was making the roster, but I don't think it's necessarily a situation that he'll be a lock for say, like if they really like what some of the younger guys are doing. But I mean,
well, if Godwin's ready for week 1, that guy isn't moving a rotational receiver. That's just what it is.
And I personally think Russell Gage, I mean, he's just more of a slot guy. I think he's going to get a lot of run. So, I mean, if they like what some of the young guys are doing, I could see them basically saying, yeah, Julio, we like you, but we want to take advantage of some of these younger guys.
And it wasn't no minimum contract. He got paid a little bit. He got 1 year, $8 million. That's decent for what he's doing on the field.
Yeah, and he also did sign with the Buccaneers so over some other teams. I know the Packers were a team mentioned.
Yeah, there was another team that called about him too.
I know there was another team. I never saw anything confirmed anywhere.
I know. I saw it.
Are you talking about Pat McAfee?
There was 2 offers, 2 complete offers. That was a whole tweet. 2 offers. Green Bay Packers had an offer on the table, and the Colts had an offer on the table.
I didn't see anything about the Colts. I know I saw Chris Ballard say they weren't talking to Julio at all. He said in the press conference, actually a couple hours before the Julio signing.
Well, all I saw is that there was a Colts offer on the table at one point. That's all I saw.
I have no idea about that, but Julio is in Tampa Bay. Yeah, it just says his career ends because he's wearing an awful number at 85.
That is, I don't think that's permanent. I think he's waiting for people to get cut. He'll take a better number. But speaking of the Buccaneers, something else happened at Buccaneers training camp today. Ryan Jensen, most likely, knock on wood, probably out for the year. I watched the video. Did not look good. You have your fucking left guard throwing a 300-pound second-round pick into your Pro Bowl center's left knee. It did not look good. If I'm the Buccaneers, I'll have J.C. Tretter on that phone in 2 days.
It's definitely bad. I mean, they're fearing it's going to be a major knee injury. He was carted off the field. It's most likely probably an ACL. It's just what tends to happen. Hopefully it's not. But that's probably the most likely case scenario. And I mean, if he is gone, I mean, that interior 3 linemen for the Buccaneers from last year is all gone.
Marpe retired. A bunch of young guys, man.
Yeah. Jensen would be gone. Ali Marpe would be gone. And Kappa would, who went to Cincinnati, would be gone.
Well, they got Shaq Mason to replace Kappa, which is an upgrade, but they're going to have to start Luke Godeke from Central Michigan. And
Robert Hainsey, I think I saw.
Yeah, and Stinney.
But yeah, I mean, just a complete new interior offensive line, it looks like, for the Bucs this season. But hopefully for Jensen's case, it was maybe just like some kind of extension. I didn't see the video.
No, I'm telling you right now, it looked bad.
Yeah, hopefully it's not serious as it looks.
Well, yeah, they said it looked bad, but at the same time, the video, it's basically Logan Hall, the first pick of the second round this year. Big man, was getting blocked by the left guard, Robert Stinney. I think his first name's Robert. Sorry for the dog. Basically just threw him right into the back of Ryan Jensen's leg. And Ryan Jensen's not no bitch. Let me just tell you this right now. I've seen Ryan Jensen beat players' asses on the field. He's not no bitch. The fact that he got carted off, yeah, I'm telling you right now, there's no way it's not serious, like bad. There's no way. There's no way that was just an extension.
Yeah, and I do want to mention that just now the Arizona Cardinals, it's been reported, have the independent study clause from Kyler Murray's contract.
So, what did I just say?
So, I mean, we don't know how they would have enforced it, but just wipe away what we just talked about 5 minutes ago.
What did I just say, though? They just threw that in there to feel like they're making their money's worth. There was no fucking reason for that. Kyler Murray would not have had a press conference. They just took it away because now it's causing a problem. It wasn't really anything. I knew it wasn't.
Well, it said it happened yesterday, the move. So it didn't have anything to do with what happened today.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I don't think that cause meant anything to the Cardinals. I think they just had it in there for bullshit reasons.
Yeah.
There's always those little contract shits in every NBA and NFL contracts. Like I remember, I'm not going to pull examples, but they just throw in shit just to make them feel like they're getting their money's worth.
Yep, and that's about it for the news.
Oh, no, one more. Big one. Chiefs signed Carlos Dunlap.
Dunlap had a good year last year. He's not what he used to be, but I mean,
he's solid, and he's same contract as Julio, 1 year, $8 million. I don't know where these teams are pulling cap from. I guess there's some type of clause, or 1 year extensions are different, but that's a good signing. They just keep adding. They just keep adding and keep adding and keep adding. It's going to be Dunlap and Karlaftis off the edge again this year. It's going to be fine. He's probably as good, or if not better, than Melvin Ingram. They're not taking any steps back, man.
Yeah, the Chiefs, I mean, we'll see. They'll definitely still be competing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But Carlos Dunlap, productive player, he's probably there because, he's older, so teams don't want to really give him a contract. It's probably a huge incentive-based contract that Dunlap got. Probably same thing with Julio, also incentive-based.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the power rankings. We always like to start off with some power rankings in the AFC North. What is your AFC North power rankings?
My AFC North power rankings. So mine have been going all around today. So what I'm going to stick with, if the Ravens are healthy, I'm going 1, Ravens. I'm going 2, the Cleveland Browns. I'm going 3, Cincinnati Bengals. And I'm going number 4, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it can go either way, but I think the locks I have are Browns and Steelers. I think the Ravens and Bengals could switch because I know the Bengals have the Ravens number, but they weren't healthy.
So you would swap the Ravens to 3?
I think Cleveland will end up 2, depending on Watson's suspension. If it's 8 games and under, I think they go 2. If it's season, of course, they're going to be 4 or 3. But I'm basing it off of what I'm seeing from the Deshaun Watson rumors right now. But yes, I think Ravens and Bengals, one of them is going to be 1 and one of them is going to be 3.
So the way I have it, I have the Ravens at 1. I have the Cincinnati Bengals at 2. I have the Cleveland Browns at 3. And I have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4.
Oh, so you're basic?
What was that?
So you're basic?
I mean, I don't think that's basic. I think most. I
That
think a
no,
lot.
that is
Most,
basic. Anybody but the Steelers fans are agreeing with what you just said.
I mean, Bengals are probably the favorite. No, they just made it to the Super Bowl.
I mean, I feel like I've seen a bunch of like people saying Bengals aren't going to be doing what they did last year. I
I
think
think
it's
the
very
Bengals
valid.
is consensus. I think the Bengals and Browns are the two consensus.
I mean, depending on the Watson thing, yeah.
Yeah. But we both have Baltimore at one. So let's go ahead and start Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore, I mean, injuries just kicked their ass last year. Let's call it what it is. They still performed into December. I kind of mentioned it earlier. I mean, they were the number one seed in the AFC until Lamar Jackson got hurt and into December. And then they finished the year off 0-5. I mean, they were a good team till then. Lamar Jackson, hopefully he gets that extension soon so that he's playing. And I mean, the weapons aren't really there. Obviously, Mark Andrews had a great year last year. They lost Hollywood Brown. Rashad Bateman's going to have a much bigger role this year. So that's the one that does concern me. But running back's not going to be healthy. I mean, how many running backs did they lose last year? Like
They
two
lost-
or three
they lost-
after the year.
3 because they lost
Dobbins.
Edwards Dobbins early, back to back.
Yeah, they're both for the
And then
entire year.
And then I think they lost Tyson Campbell just for a little bit, not for a whole season. But
Tyson Campbell, Williams,
what's his name?
Tyson Williams.
Tyson Williams, yeah, and
Yeah, he
Latavius
was
Murray
the
had to
Colts.
take a big role.
Yeah, Latavius Murray. Did Justice Hill also get hurt?
I think Justice Hill got hurt. Justice Hill, he got hurt in training camp as well.
All right, yeah, so I mean, they dealt with a lot of injuries. J.K. Dobbins will be back. Who's got a lot of potential to see how he recovers from his injury. It was some type of lower body injury. I don't remember if it's like ACL or whatever it was. J.K. Dobbins.
Dobbins was his knee.
Knee, yeah. So, I mean, hopefully, I haven't heard anything specifically from him in training camp so far. Hopefully, he is at least playing, but hopefully, he's looking like his normal self back there because after his first year, he was looking like he's going to have a lot of potential in this league.
Oh yeah, if he's back, it's a problem, and I really hope he is because fantasy wise.
Yeah, then I mean, defensively, I mean, their defense was not very good last year, but a lot of that can be said due to injuries. Their entire secondary basically wiped off injuries. I know Humphrey was hurt for a little bit. I don't know if how much time he missed. I don't think it was too much time, but you had Marcus Peters who missed the entire year. Pretty sure got hurt in preseason or training camp.
He got hurt in training camp.
Yeah. They signed Kyle Fuller. Basically, I think he'll probably play the outside. Mark Humphrey could play in the nickel in their nickel packages. Obviously, Humphrey will go outside in their base. So that's 3 really nice corners to Fuller have his best year last year, but we know what he can be. In the secondary, though, safeties, they got a stacked safety room. They got Marcus Williams, Chark Club, Kyle Hamilton they drafted. They still have Tony Jefferson. Like that is a stacked safety room.
They're going to be running that 3 safety look.
Oh,
Just
for
wait
sure.
it. They're going to be running that Kyle Hamilton in the box.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get all 3 safeties out there. They paid Marcus Williams big time money. Chuck Clark is very underrated.
So
He's
good.
a stud. And then, I mean, they obviously with the first round pick drafted Kyle Hamilton, who is an absolute stud as well. So they're gonna have to find a way to get all of them out there. And I mean, there'll be a lot of 3 safety sets probably out there because bring a safety down like Clark or Hamilton because your linebackers aren't the best. You got Patrick Queen out there. You have Lee Harrison, right? Josh Bynes.
Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison, Tyus Bowser.
Yeah, he's more off the edge though.
No, he is an edge, but they almost had Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
And then in the front 4, you got Calais, big bodies. Michael Pierce came right back. They lost Brandon Williams.
Yep, they got Dafe Owe, who had a decent rookie year last year.
They have Travis Jones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they drafted Travis Jones in the 3rd round. They also brought in Justin Houston back. So they got some guys in the line. Yeah, they got Justin Houston.
No, they didn't.
I'm looking at their depth chart right now.
I don't think Justin Houston came back.
He's on the depth chart.
I saw him as a top remaining free agent like yesterday.
Look it back up. But I mean, I'm looking at the depth chart right now. It shows
doesn't matter. Regardless, you won't be starting. You got Bowser and
not gonna be starting, but he's gonna be.
I really don't think he's on the team.
I mean, I'll look it up, but
it's not that big of a deal.
It's really not that big of a deal.
Nah, and they have the best kicker in Justin Teague.
Oh yeah,
from 66 yards out. They're just a good fucking team, dude. And not to mention, Next year they're gonna have all this. David Ajabo, like they're so scary at drafting, dude. And they go and get probably one of the best center prospects of the last few years, Tyler Linderbaum. They're just deep, man. They're a deep fucking team. They need some receiver help, but they're deep.
Yeah, I mean let's talk about the receivers. I mean, and I'm not talking about tight ends, just the actual wide receivers. They got Rashad Bateman, and then after that with Devin Duvernay, James Prochet. As I pronounce it, Prochet.
Prochet.
They got Slade Bolden as an undrafted free agent from Bama. Maybe he'll be the next great slot guy. But I mean, they really don't have a lot of wide receiver. But at the same time, do you really need a lot of wide receiver in that type of offense? I mean, it's an offense that strives with tight ends and a lot of running backs. They got Mark Andrews, Nick Boyle. I personally liked Isaiah Likely, who they drafted, or was he undrafted? I know he was
Carolina, 4th round.
Yeah. So I mean, they have some nice tight ends there. They drafted Tyler Linderbaum to be their center. Ronnie Stanley's coming back from injury.
Kevin Zeitler at the right guard, and then they signed Morgan Moses to play right tackle.
Yeah. So I mean, the offensive line is definitely improved from last year. They should be a really good team. They got John Harbaugh coaching them, who is one of the better coaches in the entire NFL. And he built a perfect offense around Lamar, at least schematically. So I'm excited to see how the Ravens are going to be this year. I think they should be competing for the number 1 seed in the AFC if healthy. Obviously, keywords if healthy. That's for any of these teams we talk about. But yeah,
I mean, they should be very good as long as whatever team they're playing against doesn't blitz 100% of the time.
Yeah, and I mean, what's it called? I mean, they did pretty good against the blitz last year, though.
No, they didn't.
Lamar Jackson's stats were very good against the blitz. Don't care about that because Brian Flores is gone. But I mean, the Ravens last year were the worst team in the league against the pass. And now, what I just mentioned, I mentioned their secondary of, like I said, they got Humphrey, Peters, Kyle Fuller, Williams, Clark, Hamilton. That's not going to be the worst passing defense in the NFL this year.
If they stay healthy, though.
Yeah, and that's
healthy, but yeah, 100%. But Kyle Hamilton's going to play that box linebacker. They're going to be dominant, dude. Like, I'm really scared of the Ravens. I really am. If they stay healthy, there's nobody in that division going to stop them besides the Bengals, just because it's a matchup.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and move on. Let's go to the defending AFC champs. The defending AFC champs and Cincinnati Bengals. What? Why are you?
Because I have the Browns too. Why are we always going with yours?
I'm going with them because I think they deserve the respect.
No, they do. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, they really only got better this offseason. You know, I know you aren't crazy about their offensive line additions, but they definitely improved the O-line. They got Ted Karras, they got Alex Cappa, they got Leo Collins. That right side's completely revamped, and it's much better than it was last year. You know, they still have a great offense. They got Joe Burrow, who is a young star in this league. They got Joe Mixon, who I feel like went very under the radar last year. He was really damn good last year. And now being able to run with a more improved offensive line, I think he's going to have another great year this year. They got Jamar Chase, stud. T. Higgins, people don't talk about him enough, stud. Tyler Boyd, one of the best slot receivers in the NFL. And you add Hayden Hurst to that offense, who, I mean, he hasn't really lived up to his draft projection, but he's still a solid tight end nonetheless. That offense next year probably be top 5 in the NFL, probably pretty easily. Just absolutely loaded with talent.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not big on their offensive line signings just because I don't like the contracts for them. Leo Collins is a steal for the contract, but Kappa and Karras has proven he's just very mediocre at best. And Kappa's, I mean, it's hard to judge a player when you're putting him in between the number 1 right tackle in the league and a top 5 center in the league. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to judge how they are actually, but I just don't think him going from Wirfs and Jensen to Karras and Collins is going to show his true talent. It's going to show his true talent. So we'll see, but I don't like players that leave systems like that for a system, especially how bad the Bengals is.
The O-line was awful last year. Those guys are solid players that's going to improve it no matter how you feel about them. those guys are going to improve that O line drastically.
Dude, their O line was terrible. They had Isaiah Prince starting at right tackle. You know how I know he was bad? He was a Dolphin with the worst O line and got cut.
I mean, it's the Dolphins.
Yeah,
shut
the fuck up. It's the Dolphins. The Dolphins' terrible line, and the guy got cut from that line.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be huge improvements. I mean, Joe Mixon might be the best running back in the NFL at cutting back, finding open space out of nowhere. Just cut back king, I call him. So, yeah, I mean,
Joe Mixon's dirty.
Yeah. And then defensively, I mean, they didn't really add too much. If I remember, at least starting wise, they got Daxton Hill late in the first round, who I think is going to be a good player for them. Might have to start at safety week 1, depending on what happens with Jessie Bates. They didn't agree to a contract extension, so I don't know what's going to go on with him. Are they going to have to be forced to trade him?
Dax is going to play nickel corner. From what I'm seeing in training camp, he played a lot of that at Michigan. Box
but they have Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton's one of the best nickels in the league.
My bad. Yeah, they have Mike Hilton. He is one of the best nickels, but they could play him outside across from Owozie because Trey Waynes retired. He was ass, but he retired. They have no second corner.
Eli Apple.
Shut the fuck
Come on now.
You got Eli Apple, and they got fucking and they drafted Nebraska boy Taylor Britt.
I'm not going to stand for this Eli Apple disrespect, man.
Oh, I'm so scared.
Come
what
on.
What are you going to do?
But, I mean, Uzi had a good year last year for them. They also signed Trey Flowers at corner.
He's been there.
He's been there? I could swear I just saw that he was signed recently.
And so was Vernon Hargraves.
You know what I'm thinking of? The other Trey Flowers, when he used to be on the Patriots. He's still free agent. I remember seeing something about him.
No, you're talking about TRE Flowers, right?
I know that's who I'm talking about. I remember the other day seeing something about how Trey Flowers is still a free agent. I thought this was Trey Flowers that just got signed.
Well, all I know is they're going to be using no. Trey Flowers, the DN did not get signed.
I know. I just remember seeing something about him a couple days ago.
Yeah, no, but I guess they're going to be having to run 3 safeties because you don't use a first-round pick on a guy that's going to be backup. That's not going to. Von Bell's a stud. Jessie Bates is a stud. Unless they knew something was going on with Jessie Bates, they would not use a first-round pick on Daxton.
Yeah, I mean, is he potentially going to get traded? I mean, I wouldn't. He's probably maybe top 5 safety, probably. Maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he got traded because Paul Brown's just greedy. That's just what he is. It's known thing.
He doesn't pay people.
He doesn't pay people unless you're fucking like Joey Burrow. You're not getting paid.
They were trying to give this man Jessie Bates. Was it a 4-year contract extension? Like giving him $4 million more than what he gets in the franchise tag.
Yeah, see, that's just that's fucking wild.
Like,
I feel bad for if you get drafted there, you're just automatically kind of fucked.
What's gonna happen to Joe Burrow when he's up for an extension?
Well, no, they're gonna pay him. Trust me, Paul Brown, 100%. Paul Brown, they're already talking about that shit, extending him. They're gonna pay Joe Burrow. That's not somebody you hold pay on. And they've always been like that with DBs. Always.
I don't know. We'll see because Joe Burrow is probably going to be the second highest paid QB in the NFL next offseason.
Yeah, no 100. Well, we don't know. Herbert.
It depends who gets paid first. The second person's going to get paid more.
I doubt that.
That's usually how it happens.
Yeah, but if Herbert's paid first and Paul Brown sees the contract, he's going to show the Herbert stats to Burrows, and Herbert's going to kill him. He's going to try to fucking negotiate a little less than him.
Burrow will say, "I let you guys do a Super Bowl," and Herbert hasn't made the playoffs yet.
That's fair for Burrow. I'm just saying that's how Paul Brown is. The guy's fucking greedy. He's known to be greedy.
All right, but I mean, we're not talking about that's like a year in the future. but
the Bengals, man, but they're going to be very good this year, man. They're going to be a good team. But they have matchups, and I don't feel like their roster is Super Bowl caliber. I don't care. I know they made the Super Bowl, but I don't think they're making. Can I be honest? I don't think they make the playoffs this year.
I think they do. I think they do. I think 2 teams in the AFC North will make the playoffs.
Nope.
And I would say it'd be the Ravens and Bengals. I don't know. What other teams are going to make it besides at least 2 in this division? I know there's obviously going to be multiple in the AFC West. Maybe there's 3 in the AFC West. I'm not 100% sure how many. Multiple in the AFC South or the AFC East is a toss-up. It could be 1. It could be 2.
Definitely not AFC South, dude.
You think Titans are making it?
You're cute. You know that? I don't think the Colts are making it, dude. I don't think Colts are very good. We're not going to talk about it. We already
That's
talked about that last episode.
That's
I don't think
crazy.
Dolphins are making it. I don't think the Colts are making it. So don't try to say some bias shit.
That's
I don't think the
crazy.
Colts are making it. Dude.
That's crazy. But the
Fucking
Bengals
Shaq
though,
Leonard.
but Logan Wilson was absolutely ridiculous last year. He was an absolute
So
stud
stupid.
last year.
Jermaine Pratt. He had a
Drake
great
Pratt
season.
was good last year also. Did Logan Wilson make a Pro Bowl last year?
Logan
I know obviously
Wilson,
he wouldn't play in the game because he made Super Bowl, but
I tell you what, he might have because he was leading in every stat category for a minute.
yeah, he was really good. Trey Hendrickson had a great season last
Trey
year.
Hendrickson was a Pro Bowler. I know that.
And then I'm excited to see how Joseph Ossai looks. He was someone I liked in the draft a year ago. I'm excited to see how he looks this year.
Out of Texas.
But overall, I mean, the defense has a lot of good players. The only really great player I'd say is probably Jesse Bates and Hendrickson. And maybe Logan Wilson's teetering on that, and Mike Hilton has a slot. But I am excited to see how they look this year because the offense is going to be there. If the defense is just average, they're probably a playoff lock as long as the defense is average. I expect them to be at least average.
Nope. I don't think they're a lock. I think that's fucking ridiculous to say.
I'm saying if the defense plays at least at an average level because I expect the offense to be top 5.
I think one makes it from the AFC North. I think it could be the Bengals. I'm not saying it can't be, but it's all depending on how the Ravens play. I think one makes it from there. I think whoever's in the division is making it. I think 2 or 3 making it from the West. I think one's making it from the South, and I think how much do we have left?
You have either 2 or 3. We have 2 left, or two or 3.
Let me just say this: I'd take 2 in the AFC East over 2 in the AFC North.
I would not at all.
I just would. It's personal, just because I just would. And I'm not saying Dolphins, like Patriots could do it, but I'm just saying I would.
The AFC North is definitely gonna have 2 teams.
Okay, we can make a friendly bet. You can mark this.
I'd say the AFC North definitely has 2. Let's move on to another AFC North team, which, it's hard to rank them with the power rankings because you don't know what's happening with the QB there in Cleveland.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be at the absolute minimum 8 games. I'd probably expect more like a 12-game suspension, but it could even be a full year. We really have no idea.
It should be a full year, but he's going to fucking sue the NFL if it's a full year.
I don't know. Calvin Ridley got a suspension for a full year for betting on a game he wasn't even playing.
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
But we'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to touch too much on that subject, but I'm going to think of it as if Brissett's playing half the year, starting half the year is how I'm going to think of it. And the Browns, they didn't make the playoffs. They will get an upgrade in QB if Watson is playing. Like to say that they will definitely get an upgrade at QB. It's just hard to really rank them without knowing their full situation at the quarterback because Brissett, as a backup, he's a solid backup, but you don't want him playing for too long because he is going to make mistakes. He's going to hold on to the ball too long, but he's a serviceable guy as a backup.
I'd like to change my pick.
Let's hear it.
Just I want to put Browns down to 3. You want to put Bengals 2?
So wait. You want to go Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers. My exact rankings that you
I know. But the reason why I'm thinking that is because you said Brissett like he's a decent backup, and I'm sorry, he's just not. He's so fucking bad, dude. And I'm thinking about it. Oh, but wait, because I know they have one. They usually do have one of the best rosters on paper. Well, yeah, you're gonna have Brissett throwing a. Oh wait, he's gone. Amari Cooper. Fuck David Bell. Fuck Donovan Peoples-Jones.
David Bell is Jarvis Landry 2.0.
Shut up.
He is.
No, he's not.
He's but he's Jarvis Landry 2.0.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, we'll see that in 2 years when he's probably not. All right. No, I'm not going to say that. No, he's not. And especially with Jacoby Brissett, I promise he's not. Okay?
That's a perfect receiver for Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, the Browns might be bad, dude. Fucking Brissett sucks. I can't believe I went to watch a Jacoby Brissett game last year, and I wanted to cry. You were at that game as well. It was fucking terrible.
Hey, I've seen Jacoby Brissett play 2 full seasons as starting quarterback.
Yeah, I know. And look where you are right now.
Well, I mean, we had 7 or 8 wins with Brissett at QB.
I know. Yeah, 7 or 8 wins. You're celebrating that? That's fucking disgusting.
The Colts beat the Chiefs the year they won the Super Bowl with Brissett at QB. That's crazy.
Yeah, I do remember that.
But I mean, Brissett is a capable backup QB. He's a capable backup QB. You don't want him as your starter, but as backup, it's all right. I mean, he's going to have probably the best running back duo in the NFL, and Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, two absolute studs in the backfield behind probably the best O-line in the NFL. I mean, you got absolute studs in Joe Antonio and Wyatt Teller. I know Conklin's on the PP list. I don't know if he's dealing with any serious injury. Jedrick Wills is a good tackle. And who they got? They got Nick Harris at center.
I don't know who the fuck they're starting at center. I know they cut Treader, but yeah, they're gonna be running. They're gonna be running the fuck out of that ball until Watson's on the field.
Yeah, I mean, they ran the hell out of the ball last year. You know, I mean, they had the top 5 running attack last year at least. And the defense, you know, I wasn't crazy about the defense coming into the season, but they played pretty well last year. Obviously, they have one of the best defensive players in the entire league, Myles Garrett. He's next to Jadeveon Clowney, who came back for another year. Who's in the interior? They got
Taven Bryan.
Taven Bryan from Jacksonville.
He's fucking terrible, but he's there. Anthony Walker's front 7. Who else is front 7 there? That's what I was thinking about. I'm like, yo, because like last year, you're thinking about they had like one of the best rosters on paper. It was just fun. They would put money everywhere. But now I'm thinking about it. There's a lot of fucking like, and that team.
They also got Jock Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who I think he's going to have a really damn good second year. Thought he was kind of underrated last year as a rookie. I think he's going to take it to another level next year. And in the secondary, they got Denzel Ward, one of the best corners in the NFL.
Greg Newsome.
Greg Newsome. Greedy Williams, has he really played too much?
When he is playing, he's very bad, I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, I was very excited for him coming into his career. I mean, he was drafted like 2-3 years ago. I just don't really remember too much from Greedy Williams so far.
No, he has not done shit. Well, the first year he missed.
Well, I know he was hurt.
He missed the whole year first year.
Yeah, and
then he was so hyped out of college. Everybody thought he was a 100% top 15 pick. Fell to the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a reason for that. And then at the safety, they got John Johnson Jr. or John Johnson III. Yeah, and then they got shut the fuck up, and they got Grant Delpit, who's finally gonna have. Seems like he's finally gonna have a fully healthy year.
Yeah, hopefully for his sake. I mean, they also got Ronnie Harris as a backup, who has had some flashes. He's not the best, but he's had some flashes throughout his career.
Is that his second stint with the team?
I think so. I think he's been with Cleveland.
I could have sworn he was too. That's why I know he was with Jacksonville. I know he got drafted there, but I could have sworn he was with Cleveland before.
So I mentioned they have former last chance you star Dakota Allen as well. Just throwing that out there. But I mean, the defense, it'll be a good group. If they do suffer some injuries, so they don't really have the best depth behind them. But overall, it's a solid group. Some guys that have the ability to take the next step forward. You know what Myles Garrett's going to be. He's going to be an absolute menace out there. Jock, I think, take a big step. Denzel Ward is locked down on his side. Newsome and Greedy Williams, I mean, they have potential, right? They have potential. Newsome was good last year. He was good last year.
He's solid all around.
But yeah, I mean, the defense overall will be a good unit. I don't know if he can really carry their offense if Brissett's the starter for the entire year potentially. But they have some talent.
Let me make this very clear: he won't be a starter for a full year. The NFL is going to find some fucking way to get Deshaun Watson in the game. It's not going to be the full year, even though it should be. Let me make that very fucking clear.
The NFL wants the full year. The NFL is what's pushing for the full year. The NFLPA is pushing for less.
No, I know, but I'm just saying they're going to find a way. His lawyer's going to find some fucking way just not to make that happen, and it's bullshit. If Ridley's getting suspended a full year, he should be. That's what everybody's thinking. But everybody's thinking that except for Browns fans.
Well, you got to also think of this way. The NFL's already, quote-unquote, considering Watson to have been suspended for a year. So this is almost going to be like, if he's suspended for 8 games, they're going to be like 1.5 years. That's what they're going to be pushing.
He should be suspended. Can I say this? Indefinitely. That's what I think. He's just – that's what I think. That's his person.
I would not disagree with you on that.
Thank you. Well, let me say this, though. If he is playing, though, David Njoku's going to fucking break out. He doesn't have Austin Hooper holding him back now. He's looked way better last year than he has in the years past. He could be a stud. Watch for him. They paid him for no reason, kind of. He hasn't proved that he's worth the $11 million they're paying him a year. And they basically used Austin Hooper's money to do that. But I think if Deshaun Watson's playing, better watch for David Njoku this year.
Yeah, I mean, they got some weapons, not really a lot of depth behind them. But if Watson is playing, I mean, Chubb and Hunt, like we've already mentioned, Njoku, Harrison Bryant, I mean, decent FAU alumni. I go to FAU if you guys don't know. Then you got Amari Cooper. I like David Bell. Like I said, he is a Jarvis Landry, legit replacement. Donovan Peoples-Jones had some flashes. They got the knockout star himself in Javon Wims. A man's always looking for a fight. Not always, but he's had to punch someone with a helmet for some reason.
Is that the guy that was on the Bears?
Yeah, he's the guy who punched Chauncey.
Yeah. Chauncey deserved it, 100%. Guy's a dickhead, but he's so good.
Yeah, and I mean, they got Anthony Schwartz back there, speedster. Maybe he's got some potential in him with Watson. But yeah, I mean, they got a great team on paper. It just really depends a lot on if Watson's playing or not.
It depends on Watson. That's the main thing, but it also depends on health because their tackles last year just could not stay on the field at all. And it sucks for Garrett because I know you're putting Clowney around him, but that guy's getting double teamed left and right. There's nothing else to do. No offensive line is going into a game against the Browns and saying, all right, we're going to put left tackle on Garrett, and then we're going to put you guys on Taven Bryan. It's just not happening.
No.
They need somebody next to Garrett that's dominant. Clowney's on the other side or even on his side. Doesn't matter. He's not who he was with the Texans. They need to give Garrett some fucking help, and they're wasting his career. That guy should be a sack leader every single year.
I mean, Clowney had a decent year last year. I mean, he's never lived up to the hype that he had coming out of college, but I mean, he's overall, I mean, not living up to his hype. He's always been a decent player, no matter where he's been.
Oh, I disagree with you on that. Clowney on the Texans was a little different, buddy.
He was good, but he
was very
also
good.
Wasn't as good as his hype.
I feel like his hype was number one player in the NFL, but like
he was never really close to that. He was great. He was never a great pass rusher. He's still really isn't a great pass rusher. He's always been a great run stuffer.
He was great on the Texans for a season or two. He was great.
He's had some good years, but he's never been an elite pass rusher.
No, I agree with you on that. But he was there. He wasn't make it very clear. He was not no bust. Don't get me wrong.
No, not a bust.
Let me make it very clear. Who is the fucking GM?
He
Bill
also
O'Brien.
dealt with injuries though. To begin his career.
But Bill O'Brien made that guy quote unquote bust for the Texans. What they got back for him was fucking ridiculous.
And also, just a quick question: for being number one overall pick as an edge rusher, how many seasons in his career do you think Jadeveon Clowney's had 10 sacks or more?
I mean, he's never had those full seasons with the Texans. He was always hurt. So I probably I know he had one with the Seahawks. 2?
He hasn't had any in his career.
Really? How many 9.5s?
He's had a couple like 9s.
Okay.
But still, if you're the number one overall pick,
no, I agree with you.
I mean, he's just never been an elite pass rusher.
No, but I was so hyped for him. I remember when he got drafted to Texans, it was like, holy fuck. We're going to get Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt on the same line, and just none of them could stay healthy. But they were so good once they were healthy.
Yep. Yeah, let's move on to the last team, the AFC North. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, I mean, we probably both have them last because of the QB situation. I mean, this Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. I mean, I wasn't really high on any of the QBs in this draft. I mean, so I'm not really that high on Kenny Pickett. I expect Mitchell Trubisky to be the starter, at least to begin the year. If they aren't doing good, yeah, Pickett will probably come in. But I expect Trubisky to win the starting job. And I mean, skill-wise, I mean, they have some decent guys out there. Najee Harris, he's a decent running back. I mean, he had a good year last year. I think people that pay attention to the fantasy world probably thinks he's better than he really was. But receiver-wise, Dalton Johnson's a great receiver. Chase Claypool, I think, has the potential to be better than he was. And I've heard some really good. I've heard some really good things from George Pickens so far. The 1 or 2 days of training camp, heard he's been absolutely killing it. I personally like Calvin Austin coming out of the draft.
And they got Pat Freiermuth. I mean, the thing is with the reason why I didn't like the Steelers is first of all, that quarterback situation, but their defense, besides Cam Hayward and TJ Watt, which don't get me wrong, are two very top end, high end players, is very spaced out, not very good. Minka's okay.
I was about to say, don't disrespect Minka.
I'm not gonna we drafted him. I know what Minka is. He's a fucking stud. But you got corners with Akilo Witherspoon. And I could not tell you who was across from him. Number 20.
They got Levi Wallace. They got Cameron Sutton.
Terrible. And then they got their strong safety is mediocre at best.
Terrell Edmonds. They also signed Kazi. Huh?
They didn't even want to sign Edmonds.
Yeah, but they got Kazi though, who's had some decent years.
Casey,
yeah, Demonte Casey. He was. I don't remember too much from him with Dallas last year, but I know he had a really good year 2 years ago with the Falcons.
He had a very good rookie year. He had a very good few first years with the Falcons, and then just kind of fell off.
His contract with the Falcons, he had like 7 or 8 interceptions. He was pretty good.
Amazing. He got drafted there. He was great there. But it's dude, that Steelers team is so, I hate to say it, but they're bad. Devin Bush is not what we thought Devin Bush was going to be. TJ Watt. You got your 3 bright spots there, but it's so spacey. And last year, what's weird because they were one of the top defenses in the first few weeks. But I really do think the Steelers are. First of all, let me say this: I think the Steelers are bad, and second of all, I think the Steelers fans are. I'm sorry to say this: I have a lot of Steelers friends, but they're fucking insane. They think they're winning every game. There's fans that are going into softball events with the new Steelers and making them solemnly swear that they're going to be putting their heart on line for Steeler Nation. It's the cringiest shit ever. I really and they think they're going to win the Super Bowl. There's this guy, I don't know his name on TikTok. He does the podcast with, do you know what I'm talking about? White guy with glasses. He does the podcast with that ex Steeler player.
I'm not drawn.
Oh, dude, he thinks he picked them to beat the Chiefs last year in the playoffs, and that's not just him. I have the friends I have that are Steelers fans think the same way. It's just not it's not their year. They have to realize that. I think Pickett is going to be very good, but they're going to be 4th in that division, if not maybe 3rd because of Tomlin. But I really don't like their team. It's so everywhere, and that O-line is just god awful.
Yeah, that's the weird thing with Steelers because Tomlin is a really good head coach. That does feel weird or wrong to have them last. But I mean, let's face it, they got rookie QB, and even though Ben think that wasn't great last year, that was kind of the strength of their team, their passing offense, because their rushing game was one of the worst in the NFL overall. They were, I think, 3rd worst team rushing yards per game. They were dead last in stopping the run last year. And I mean, their pass defense was average, their pass offense was average. Tomlin was kind of the coaching them was kind of the reason why they made the playoffs. Yep. And also, I mean, a bit of a softer schedule, I believe. I don't remember the schedule.
It was soft in my head. It was soft.
But yeah, I mean, you take away Big Ben. I mean, he wasn't great last year at all. But I mean, he also has the experience. He knows what he's doing out there. You're putting out either Pickett or Trubisky, who doesn't have the best resumes, I mean, once you're a rookie, he doesn't have a resume. Trubisky, I mean, to his credit, has led the Bears to the playoffs once or twice, even though no one thinks he's great.
Won't say led.
He was the starting QB for a team that made the playoffs.
Thank you.
But I mean, I don't have much expectations for the Steelers this year, which I don't think is a bad thing if they aren't great, because I mean, they got some younger guys out here who can develop.
I'll tell you what, they had 2 free agent signings that I loved. I think Brian Flores with Miles Jack's going to be something special. And then I think James Daniels was also a very solid signing. But they're just, like I said, just gaps everywhere. That cornerback group is fucking horrendous. Akilo Witherspoon's solid, but Levi Wallace, I've watched that man for 3 years. That guy is so fucking ass. I don't care.
Their pass defense last year, though, was good. I mean, some of it has to do with TJ Watt, coming off the edge was going to scare
Cam Hayward,
almost every QB.
Blockers.
Yeah, Cam Hayward. And I mean, they signed their Ogunjobi. Let's see what he can do. And I think Tyson Alalu is decent. Decent guy. Also, who knows? DeMar Leo could be. He was projected to be a 1st-round pick. Then he fell to the 3rd round. But I mean, their pass defense was ranked top 10 statistically in the NFL last year. So I mean, if they can find a way to stop the run, I mean, the defense maybe could help them out on offense. With their QB deficiencies.
Yeah, and I think they're just there's no tackles on that team. I mean, you can't please, and I beg the Steelers not to do this. I mean, I don't care about the Steelers. I'm a Dolphins fan, but don't put Kenny Pickett out there with Okafor and who's their other tackle. You can't name him. Okafor, I know they signed to a big extension. I mean, he was mediocre at best, stat-wise at least. I'm not going to say he was mediocre. I didn't watch Steelers games last year, but they're just not a great team. They shouldn't have made the playoffs. The schedule's weak. They beat the fucking Bears, who were probably we'll get to them later, but they're the worst team in the league most likely. And because Casillas Marsh wanted to assault a ref, like that's the only reason why they won that game. Like they're just like they're not there. They're getting the right pieces though, and I think Flores is going to help that team with the linebackers and Devin Bush's development. But there's gaps everywhere, and they need to upgrade that DB group. That's the main hole for me. The DBs and the offensive tackles is the main holes.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive tackle group's atrocious. The O-line wasn't very good, which is the reason why the run game wasn't very good last year. Najee Harris produced a lot of touches. But I mean, Najee is very talented. I hope that he can take a big step forward this year because he is very talented.
He's going to be ridiculous. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up halfback one in fantasy.
In fantasy, sure. I wouldn't. I don't think he'll be in.
He won't. No, he could be halfback one in fantasy and still won't be better than Jonathan Taylor. I'm just saying he could be.
I'm not even saying Jonathan Taylor. I'm just saying in general. Like I mean, he was a top 3 running back last year. I think in fantasy. I think he's probably behind Eckler and Jonathan Taylor, but he's not no top 3 running back in the NFL right now.
I think he could be. I'm not saying he is right now. I agree with you, but I think this year he could be. I think it's going to be all on him. That offense is not the best. I think it's going to be a lot to do with Najee. Wait and see, man. If they give him 20 targets like they did last year in that one game, he can do his thing.
Yeah. Now let's move on to the NFC. What is your NFC North predictions?
All right. So, and this is going to shock you. And I'm not doing this for controversy. I really believe this. Okay. First place in the NFC North, Detroit Lions. Not as fuck with you. Number 1, we got Green Bay Packers. I'm going consensus on this. 2 Vikings, 3 Lions, and 4 the Chicago Bears. I think the Chicago Bears are going to be the worst team in the NFL.
All right. I'm going to say this list just to be different.
Well, don't do that. If you have something written already, you're studying this shit all day. You're going to go Lions too?
I'm going to say this to be different. I have the Green Packers at 1. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the Lions at 2.
Okay.
Vikings at 3, and Bears at 4. I'm going to do it to be different. It's a safe thing to say the Vikings at 2, which I do like the Vikings.
I just like them because of I just like them of the head coach signing. I love the head coach signing. We'll get on to that later.
We'll get to them later. But
yeah,
I'm gonna be a little different with that. I don't like having the same list as you.
No, I agree. I feel that. I was thinking about going Lions too. I don't hate. I love the Lions roster. They're doing something good down there. But I love that Vikings hiring.
Yeah. So let's go and start with the Packers. And I mean, I feel like a lot of people probably would have locked them in at 1. I wouldn't necessarily put them as a lock at 1. Now, I'm not saying the Lions would win the division. I'd probably say the Vikings win the division if that's the case. But I mean, the Packers obviously have the back-to-back MVP in Aaron Rodgers. A stacked running back group. We just said the Browns have the best. Packers might have second best. I mean, Aaron Jones, I think, is going to have a great year this year. I mean, with
Dylan Quads, a.k.a. Mr. Truck Your Mascot.
Isn't his nickname Quadzilla?
Quadzilla. I mean, you're going to take that. Yeah, he's bigger than Saquon. That sounds so gay. He's got bigger quads than Saquon Barkley. But let me say this, though. The reason why they're number 1 in the NFC North is not because of that offense. They're fucking Aaron Rodgers over. We've known this. That defense is all around fucking stacked. Amazing. Let me get into it. Devondre Campbell, middle linebacker. Quay Walker is going to be a fucking problem. Okay? There's a reason why he went in the first round late. You got Kenny Clark and Devontae Wyatt as DTs. You got Preston Smith and who's the other edge rusher? They have another decent one.
Rashawn Gary,
who had a fucking breakout year last year. Savage and Amos at the safeties. And then fucking Stokes, who's going to be a fucking stud. Oh, yeah. Who else? Am I missing someone?
They're missing him last year.
Am I missing someone at cornerback 1?
Yeah, I mean, they were missing him last year, but Mr. guy out of Louisville. Johnny Alexander.
They're so fucking good on defense, bro.
And let's not forget, Rasul Douglas had a great year last year as well for the Packers.
And Stokes is probably going to play nickel. To be honest, well, I'd put Douglas at nickel because he's a better tackler. And I think Stokes his roof's high. But you're listing this defense and you're like, yeah, it's pretty good. And don't get me wrong, Aaron Rodgers has got no fucking weapons. You'll see tomorrow on TikTok. But Aaron Rodgers is still the MVP.
Back-to-back MVP.
Back MVP. And you have that fucking defense, they're going to be a fucking problem. And don't get me wrong, it's and this is why I'm saying it's a lock that they're number one. If Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, they're a lock at number one because that division is so fucking weak still. It's not going to be in a few years, but they're so weak. They have one of the best defenses in the league on paper. Let me say that. And two-time MVP back-to-back Aaron Rodgers. What are you going to stop? What team in that division is going to stop them? Nobody.
Yeah, I mean, they should be the number one team because, like you said, defense is absolutely crazy. And you have Aaron Rodgers. I mean, their receivers aren't good. They're flat out not good.
They're not.
But you got Aaron Rodgers, you know? I mean, they lost Devontae Adams, who I believe is the best receiver in the NFL. He asked out. He didn't want to stay. They traded him. I mean, it is what it is. And they lost Marquez Valdes-Scantling to the Chiefs, you know? So Allen Lazard's basically the number one receiver.
Christian Watson, who I think has got potential, but he's got brick hands.
And is on the PUP list.
Just finding this out, and he's on the PUP list, but they have Randall Cobb, a.k.a. Old Reliable there.
Yep, they got Sammy Watkins, who's on the NFI list.
They just re-signed Jordy Nelson.
I'm
just fucking with you.
I was about to say, I don't know who you're trying to go to with that. But they have Amari Rodgers, who I think could play a little small role for them. Romeo Dobbs, they drafted out of Nevada, I believe.
Yep.
So, I mean...
What's his name? Carson Strong's main man, Romeo Dobbs.
Yeah, so, I mean, they got 6 wide receiver fours. Allen Lazard, I'll give a little more credit than that. But and we don't know what Chris Watt's going to be. But
wait for Allen Lazard to break out, even though I'm not taking him in fantasy. He could be something this year.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. They got Robert Tonyan potentially back from injury. He's on the PUP list. So I don't know when he's going to officially come back. They brought Mercedes Lewis back. But they're planning to rely a lot on their running backs this year. I think Aaron Jones is going to he's going to line up at receiver a lot this year. What they do on the back. I mean, last year with Devontae Adams missed time, I mean, as a fantasy purpose, he was ridiculous, Aaron Jones. So I just think he's going to be able to produce a lot as maybe a slot receiver, just a 2 running back set. I think he's going to get a lot of pass catching attempts, which is going to help the Packers. And also, AJ Dillon's a pretty good receiver himself as a running back. So having those two and the tight end Robert Tonyan out there, then you just get 2 receivers out there with Allen Lazard and Christian Watson, or Lazard and Watkins, or 3 wide receiver sets. You'll put Cobb in the slot, you know. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make a trade or sign somebody else. Still, they try to get Julio.
Imagine this team with Devontae.
I mean, we'll probably be saying, are they the favorites for the NFC possibly?
I don't know. The NFC is so weak. It's them and the Buccaneers, man. And the Buccaneers already start. I'm knock on wood.
Whoa. The Rams, defending champs?
Who the fuck are the Rams? No, I'm kidding. But that's obvious, though. I'm just saying the NFC is very weak. It's almost like we know who's making the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? The AFC, anything could happen. Anything. Everybody's expecting 4 teams to make it from the AFC West, but it's just not going to happen. Shit's gonna fall for the first few weeks.
Yeah, and obviously injuries are always going to happen. That will kind of take place, like with the Ravens last year, for example. But
I'll tell you what, the only thing they need to work on is that receiver group. That's obvious, and I mean their O-line is not the best. They got Elgin Jenkins, who's very good. Bakhtiari is healthy. Josh Myers is very good center. But if I'm the Packers, I heard a bunch of rumors they're putting Jenkins at right tackle, which they shouldn't. I'm sorry. He's a very good player, but he's best at left guard. If I'm the Packers, I'm solidifying that left side, making sure that Aaron Rodgers' blind side is protected no matter what. Solidify the left side. That's what he's best at. Keep him there.
Yeah, I mean, Bakhtiari and Jenkins both on the PUP list, so I don't know what their injury status is looking like. They need to be healthy.
I heard Bakhtiari's might be worse than everybody thinks. Hopefully, I don't know how. He hasn't been playing, so how the fuck is he getting hurt?
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
getting hurt sitting courtside at fucking Bucks games.
yeah, right. Yeah, and then let's go to move on. We'll move on to the Vikings. You had them at 2. The
Let me talk about
Vikings.
the Vikings. You always started off. Yeah, that's
Floor's
what I
yours.
thought. Shut the fuck up. Let's go.
All right, so let's talk about the Vikings now. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
You got Kevin O'Connell. That's the main piece this year, and it's not even like I love the Vikings, but it's almost like it's consensus that they're going to be 2. The Lions are coming up and coming, but I don't trust Jared Goff enough. But
Fair.
they got Justin Jefferson, wide receiver number 1 in my book. I just think he is. Okay, but Devontae Adams. Let me take that back. Devontae Adams.
Say that again?
Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, then Cooper Kupp. Don't fucking care. Don't care. That's just my opinion. Okay. Justin Jefferson. You got Thielen, who's one of the best route runners. Cousins, who just slings that bitch, doesn't care about his interception to touchdown ratio. He doesn't care. That's why if you want to receive in fantasy, you go Vikings because he doesn't care. They have Osborne, who broke out last year. Irv Smith, knock on wood, should be healthy. And that O-line's very solid. Not to mention they have a top 5 running back in Dalvin Cook and a very, very usable backup in Alexander Madison.
I like that wording.
Yeah, but O'Connell with this offense sounds fun. I think it sounds very fun, and I think their main thing is offense. Obviously, the defense has their flashes of people. They have Eric Kendricks. Besides that, Pat Pete's kind of washed. Dantzler was good in his first few years. He wasn't great last year, and Harrison Smith is kind of washed. They're getting old on the defensive side, but that offense is very much up there. They're going to be on the top 5 highest scoring offenses in the league, I think, because of their defense being so bad.
I don't think the offense is going to be that good. I think you're kind of disrespecting their defense a little. You're disrespecting Harrison Smith a little, but he's still a good safety. He's not washed.
Shut the fuck up.
Harrison Smith is still a good
Notre
safety.
Dame? No. I'm not saying Harrison Smith is bad, but he's not Harrison Smith from Harrison Smith.
He's not no elite.
He doesn't move
safety
around that
like
field
that,
anymore like that.
but he's still a good safety. And you pair him with the first round pick, Louis Sign from Georgia, who's a good safety.
Yeah, my bad. You're right. I forgot about him.
They drafted 2 corners. They drafted Andrew Booth out of Clemson, and they got a Caleb Evans, who went to was it M school, I think. Was it Maryland?
I don't know where Tennessee. Oh no, that was Alontae Taylor.
Caleb Evans. I think he went to Maryland.
I'm not sure. It doesn't matter.
Missouri. That's what it was. It was
Missouri.
M school.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, 2 safeties. I like Andrew Booth. I think he's a great zone corner. And I mean, Pat Pete. I mean, I think he wasn't good last year, but I think he was better than some people might give him credit for. I mean, defense overall last year was bad, but Daniil Hunter's coming back. He didn't play a lot last year. They signed, like you mentioned earlier, Darius Smith. So I mean, that edge rushing group has potential if Daniil Hunter can stay healthy, and Darius Smith can produce how we think he can produce, or at least how I think they can.
Darius Smith is gonna be fucking fine. I mean, there's no stopping that man.
Yeah, and he also dealt with his fair share of injuries last year, also. No,
for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, they got Dalvin Thompson in the middle, Harrison Phillips in the middle. All right, and then they got Eric Kendricks. They got Jordan Hicks at linebacker. I mean, so
they had a breakout last year. What's his number? 98. Weird last name. Oh, Woodard, some shit like that. He was very good. He had like 9.5 sacks, 10.5 sacks.
But yeah, I mean, they're definitely trying to make improvements on the defense. They did add a bunch of guys. Wanted to see if what you say.
Dalvin Tomlinson, correct?
Yeah, I mentioned him earlier. Yeah,
okay.
He's there. I think you're talking about DJ Wonnum.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the defense, I don't expect it to be great, but I mean, they were that stat right here. They defensively last year they were the 3rd worst defense yardage wise in the NFL last year. So they were pretty bad. And I mean, yeah, the offense. I mean, they got Justin Jefferson there, who I mean, I think is the 3rd best receiver in the NFL. I do. He's an absolute stud. Dalvin Cook, absolute stud. Alexander Madison, I like the way that you put it. He is a usable,
very
running back.
Yes.
But I do think fantasies make people overrate him as an actual player himself.
Well, I just think it's I just think it's a very easy offense to run in. Because if you think about it, you have 3. They always have 3 fucking Pro Bowl caliber receivers. Or let me not say 3, 2, and then 1 very usable Osborne. Let me just say that. But it makes the run game so fucking easy. Like you hand it off. Oh, fuck. We're going to stop him now? No, because you have to guard Adam Thielen, who's always creating separation, and Justin Jefferson, who's just fucking
Stud.
flat out elite.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, the offense should be good. Kirk Cousins, he is what he is. He's not going to necessarily. He's not elite. But he's like a little below that, right? I mean, he's a very solid QB. He's going to win you games. Don't know if he's going to win you games when it really matters. But he's going to get you into a spot. I expect him to make the playoffs this year. Well, at least compete for the playoffs. I'm going to put him at third. I don't know how much I truly believe that. But I mean, I do think they're going to be a lot better this year than they were last year because they didn't make the playoffs last year, right?
No, they didn't. They're a few games out, but we have to remember that NFC was way better. It was way better.
It was.
But let me say this though. I wrote this comparison earlier when I was studying for the teams. You know what Kirk Cousins really reminds me of? A better arm Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He just doesn't give a fuck. He'll just sling that bitch. He does not care. That's why these receivers that are on these players' teams, just fucking pick them up. Because even if they're not scoring touchdowns, they're going to be getting targets out the ass.
They're getting a lot of targets, but it's not like Kirk Cousins is like reckless with the ball. Like Ryan Fitzpatrick
is reckless. I'm not going to lie, dude. I don't know if it's per se reckless, but I think it's more.
He's never like turned the ball over at a high rate. He's never done that.
Yeah, but he just slings it. He just slings it. Even if it's a 50-50 ball, he takes his receivers, which is a good trait.
He'll take chances, but like the way you're saying, like Ryan Fitzpatrick, he was reckless with the ball. I mean, Kirk Cousins, the past 3 seasons, I just pulled it up, had 7 interceptions last year, 13 the year before, 6 the year before that. I mean, he's good with keeping the ball, which is something you need to do. I mean, like there's a difference between being reckless and taking chances, but I mean, he's been good at finding a way to take care of the ball.
He got an extension this year, didn't he?
I think so.
1 year, right? Like just another year added on?
I believe so. Because there was obviously those trade rumors kind of at the end of the season that he might get traded. I think he signed his extension.
Yeah, I think he signed a 1 year extension on top of everything, but he's very viable. I heard some shit that the GM doesn't like Kirk Cousins. I mean, I don't think it's a guy you go win a Super Bowl with. I think he's more he's top 15. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, he was really damn good last year.
He's on the same level as Derek Carr with me.
It's fair. Yeah, and next up, the Lions, and I'm just excited to see the Lions play this year. Like, especially once James Williams gets back. I don't know what's happening. I know he's in the NFI list. I don't know his timetable for coming back. He obviously suffered ACL injury late in the year last year.
Championship.
Which was early January. But I mean, take Jared Goff out of the question for a second. DeAndre Swift.
You can't do that.
No. I'm just talking about the offense right now. I mean, they got one of the best O-lines in the NFL. Top 10 group for sure. Maybe top 5.
Top 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's O-line is stacked. It's basically what I'm just trying to say. Yeah. You got DeAndre Swift in the backfield. Jamal Williams, good backup. Craig Reynolds also had some solid games last year. But they got Amon-Ra St. Brown, stud. DJ Chark, and add James Williams to that. Like, I think I already mentioned TJ Hawkinson. Like
Josh Reynolds, who's also very solid.
Craig Reynolds, I already mentioned him. Oh, wait, you're talking about Josh Reynolds. Yeah.
Josh Reynolds. Yeah. And then they have Khalif Raymond and Quentin Cephas, who, by the way, did you see that catch Cephas made today? Or yesterday?
I did not.
One of those over the top, what's number 24's name? Owadiwunam, some shit like that. He's a very good player last year.
Monty Arroy.
Yeah, fit right over his fucking head. It was dirty.
Yeah, but I mean, that offense right there, I mean, who knows? I mean, Jared Goff's had some decent years for. Obviously, he made the Super Bowl before, I mean, but it wasn't due to him. But
right, I'm about to say he had a top 2 running back. He had fucking Aaron Donald.
I mean, Todd Gurley was the best running back that year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, he was. But I'm just saying.
I mean, but it's still the fact that he was starting quarterback on a team that did make it to the Super Bowl. So I mean, and I'm saying that like this team has talent on offense that he could lead them to a potential playoff berth. I mean, the NFC is weak enough that the Lions could make it. Dan Campbell, I mean, he has some question marks as a head coach, but he is, I mean, no doubt in my mind that players do want to play for Dan Campbell, which I do think matters, especially for a young team.
It does matter, but I don't think Dan Campbell is per se a Super Bowl winning coach. I think he's
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, he's. I don't think he's the best IQ wise, but I think he's definitely for the players. The players want to go out there and win games for him. There's no doubt about that. You saw the fucking game-winning touchdown against the Vikings, hugging Campbell. Like,
yeah, I think that's important for a young team. I do.
He's definitely he's the perfect fit for them right now. But when it's time for them, once they get that quarterback and it's time for them to win, he won't be the guy. Just I put that as politely as I possibly can. I love Dan Campbell, but he's just not gonna be the IQ guy that watches film the night before and realizes something and switches it up and wins the game for you. He's just not that.
Yeah. And then defensively, they drafted Aiden Hutchinson with second overall pick. They got the Aquara brothers up there on the edge. They got Michael Brockers on the inside. They also got Charles Harris, who had a decent year a year or two ago. I know you don't like him because
no, I'm cool with it. I just fucking hate how he's like decent now.
It is what it is. I said earlier, Dolphins cut good players, but anyways, they have Anzalone at the linebacker. I actually like Malcolm Rodriguez last year. The pitcher was an All-American at Oklahoma State. They dropped in the 6th round. I think he's worth the flyer. I think he has potential.
They have my sleeper too. I don't know if you remember. They have my sleeper at linebacker this year for them.
I don't.
Barnes.
Oh, I was thinking you're talking about like an undrafted guy.
No, Derek Barnes. He's gonna be fucking solid.
And then secondary. You already kind of mentioned Amani Oruwariye. He had a really good year last year. I think he got paid this offseason.
He did,
rightfully so. They hopefully Jeff Okudah can live up to his hype.
I really hope he does. That guy was so fucking fun to watch in college.
He was. So I really hope he can bounce back. I know he's been hurt some. And he also just hasn't really been great. But what's it called? First year he played, and then last year he was injured, right? For the whole year.
I kind of want to say he was injured both years.
But corners they tend to struggle as a rookie. That's just the thing
that's not necessarily true.
It
depends what corner you're talking about. Jalen Ramsey comes in and fucking owns the league.
Some corners were good. Denzel Ward was also good. His first year. Let's see. Last year he played. He might have only played like one snap almost. It says he played one game. Okudah last year.
What's the year before that? I think he was hurt that year too. I don't think he was the whole year, but
he played 9 games last year.
Okay.
But the year before, But but I'm saying a corner of all positions, like corner and tight end also. Obviously Kyle Pitts defied the odds last year, but those two positions seem to be positions that people come in and take a while to adjust to in the NFL. So I'm hoping he can bounce back. Mike Hughes, we'll see how he does. Maybe it'll be decent for them. He's the other starting corner over there, it looks like. And then they got Tracy Walker and Deshaun Elliott at safeties. So I think those are serviceable guys. What's that?
Don't they have somebody named Harris as well?
Harris.
Tracy Walker, my bad.
Yeah, that's right. I said Tracy Walker.
Yeah. He's when they re-signed, correct?
Yeah, they re-signed him. Serviceable back there. And same with Deshaun Elliott. He's been decent with the Ravens before. So they got a decent defense. It could definitely be top 15 in the NFL potentially if they're healthy and coached right. If some guys take steps that I hope or want them to, like Jeff Okudah. But overall, the talent and offense, Jared Goff could just be decent for them. I'm just excited to see the Lions. I'm just excited to watch them.
I think you're probably the first non-Lions fan to say that in the last 10 years.
Hey, man, I'm excited.
I'm cool with it. I rock with it. They got speed. It's fun over there. But you're fucking – we didn't even talk about TJ Hawkinson.
I briefly mentioned him.
Okay. Well, I didn't hear it. That's like probably one of their better players, and we just fucking went right over him.
Yeah, I like TJ Hawkinson. They just got a lot of talent on offense. DeAndre Swift, I think, is gonna have a great year this year. They got a lot of nice, not just talent either, young talent. I think TJ Hawkinson, Swift, Amon-Ra, Jameson, DJ Chark, they're all 25 years or younger. And the O-line's fairly young also.
Oh, it's all young. Ragnar was drafted a few years ago. They got Jonah Jackson. They got Decker, a little old. They got Vaitai, who's not. Yeah, of course, Sewell. We're not. We know that, man. Sewell's Sewell, man. But at the end of the game, at the end of the day, do you even watch Lions games?
I do. I don't know about you, but
I know somebody that does.
Yeah, man.
I think we both know somebody that does.
I think both know someone who doesn't. But anyways, we'll move on to the Chicago Bears. And I feel like you have a lot to talk about them. I will, because you seem to not like them, so I'll give you the floor first. But I think you have to somewhat appreciate the Bears because they did make you a little richer last year.
Yeah, okay. Well, we had a $1,000 bet with one of my Bears friends. Made me a quick band, so I always will respect the Bears. But Let's just be honest. They're terrible on the O-line. They have Tevin Jenkins, who I think something, but what I've seen at training camp so far, it's only been 2 days, so take it with a grain of salt. He's not starting. They have Bodum on the, if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, I'm sorry. Bodum at right tackle. He was decent last year. They have Whitehair, who's always been pretty good. He's starting at left guard, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing somebody at left tackle, but regardless, it's nothing like who?
Riley Reef.
Riley Reef, and he's starting at left tackle already. So from what I've seen, first team reps. But I think Fields is going to be fine. I think that's your guy. I love Fields, but you're giving him nothing to work with. He has Byron Pringle and Darnell Mooney as his wide receiver 1s and 2. So I just the only bright spot I could say about this team is you got Cole Kmet, you got Fields, you got Roquan Smith, who you need to pay right now before it costs more next year. And they're 2 corners.
Jalen Johnson was an absolute stud last year.
Jalen Johnson is a stud. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I love the guy they drafted this year, Kyler Gordon. Love that. So I think they're going in the right direction, but they need to start prioritizing protecting Justin Fields and getting him weapons, or you're going to make him look bad. Point blank, period. Like, you got David Montgomery, you got your backfield, Khalil Herbert's serviceable backup. Mooney's fine, but he's not a wide receiver 1. Let's make that very clear. He doesn't have the size for a wide receiver 1 or the elite traits of a wide receiver 1 on a football team. Cole Kmet could be a stud, but you need to protect him. You need to put that O-line around him. You need to get elite wide receiver talent. Somebody I really want to see from next year, Smith and Jigba, I think fits them perfectly. Just saying. Ohio State, I think that'd be fucking awesome, but they need to get O-linemen and protect Fields before he doesn't have the chance, because you're drafting the right pieces. Robert Quinn's going to be out of his prime in the next few years. You got Eddie Jackson, who's had a bad year, but he could bounce back. And they have Jaquan Brisker, who I really liked at Penn State. Like, they're drafting good, but they're focusing on the wrong things, I think. They need to protect Justin Fields and get him weapons. And that's not what they've been doing this offseason.
I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think they like Justin Fields, the Bears. And
I don't think they love him either, but
I'm saying this. Let me say this, right?
Go ahead.
So, for one, Justin Fields was arguably the worst QB in the NFL last year. He just was. But he's rookie QB, so you're not going to put too much stock into that.
Don't say that for fucking Chicago people, dude. Holy shit. They die for that fucking guy.
But I will say this. This is a new front office and a new coaching staff. They have no managers or ties to any player on this team, let alone Justin Fields. And just by looking at their offseason, their big time pickup was drafting 25-year-old Felix Jones Jr. at wide receiver.
There's nothing wrong with his age. Calm down.
There's nothing wrong with him as a player, but I'm saying that's
he's a great player.
That, and Byron Pringle also. Those were your 2-time big moves to try to help Justin Fields, who's on his rookie contract. The time where you're supposed to maximize those type of maximize on that.
Bingo, Zach. Bingo, bingo, bingo.
You're not helping him at all, which makes me think that this front office doesn't really believe in him, but they're going to give him a full year to prove himself.
With what?
That's what they want to see. They don't want to invest in him. You said Jackson Smith and Jigba. Jackson Smith and Jigba is a stud.
He's going to be a top 5 pick, and the Bears will have that top 5
If they're drafting top 5, they're probably going after Stroud or they're going after Young.
Well, they're going to have the top 2 picks to do that.
They can try to trade up.
And me and my friend were talking about this earlier. Let me say this right now. If the Bears have a top 2 pick, I really do believe Justin Fields is decent. I think he could be a starting quarterback. I love him out of the draft. But, if they don't believe in that, you could trade one of those top 2 picks for fucking whatever you want. If CJ Stroud and Bryce Young have years like they did last year, what would be the max they can get for that pick? A lot. It's quarterback. It's quarterback 1 value. It's going to be a lot.
Well, I also wonder though. Like last year, did they have the first round pick? Or, no, they traded straight up Justin Fields, right?
The Giants owned their pick this year. They drafted Evan Neal with it.
Yeah, so they didn't have the first round pick last year. Brisker is great. I liked Brisker and Gordon. The defense is great. Obviously, they traded away Khalil Mack this offseason. Who what was that?
It's not great. They have no front 4. They have Robert Quinn off the edge and Roquan Smith at linebacker. That's
got Robert Quinn, but
got no big men.
but what's called their defense so last year was very good, and I don't think losing Khalil Mack's going to make them fall off a cliff. I mean, they were the sixth best defense yardage wise last year. They were the third best against the pass. And that secondary only got better. The pass rush did get a little worse with Khalil Mack, but Khalil Mack isn't what he used to be. Still a good player, but he isn't what he used to be. And Robert Quinn was absolutely a stud last year. Very underrated. Don't know why he didn't get more credit last year.
No, well, don't say he didn't get his credit. He made the Pro Bowl. And as far as that Khalil Mack trade, they won that shit. 100%. Like, Khalil Mack's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but he's not Raiders or first game Bears Khalil Mack. Okay, that game was fucking insane. We're not gonna talk about it, but they got a second round pick and they got the Chargers to take that whole contract. I think the Bears, as far as I agree with you. They don't believe in Fields. They're going rebuild mode. They're taking what they can get. They got that big cap off the books, second round pick. But yeah, you're right. They're not building around Fields. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, David Montgomery has been absolutely amazing these last 2 years. Maybe amazing is a little too strong, but he's been great these last 2 years. And I do like the potential of Cole Kmet. Ryan Griffith's also a decent tight end too. There, you have Darnell Mooney, who's a good receiver. You got Byron Pringle, who shouldn't really be a top 3 receiver on your team. Felix Jones, I like him. He is old for a rookie, but I don't care too much about that. But he's going to be a good slot guy. And they got N'Keal Harry, who I heard already is dropping passes into Eddie Jackson's hands. So, I mean, see what we N'Keal Harry. I already hear he's dropping passes into Eddie Jackson's hands during
getting right in, dude. I feel so bad for Justin Fields, dude. Because did you hear about that N'Keal Harry shit? The second he got traded, Justin Fields texted him instantly, "We're gonna kill it. We got this. This is our year." Like, Justin Fields believes in this shit, and they're just like giving him back shit.
If you're the QB, you should. I mean, you should, no matter what. Every player should be at this point. Doesn't mean I believe it, but if you're a player, you should believe in that.
Hey, man, the Bears have good history drafting 25-year-old rookie receivers.
Well, who's the last one?
Really? Devin Hester, baby.
Was he 25 when he was drafted?
25 when he got drafted.
Wow.
I know.
How did he stay in college for so long? I'm guessing Jones was because of COVID year and stuff like that, but
I mean, to be fair, he was known for being a kick returner in college as well. So
yeah, but still, I mean, I guess he would have had to redshirt like an extra year or something like that. I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but I remember seeing 2 things on it. So I don't know. I saw 2 different TikToks and article about how they're good with 25-year-old rookie receivers. So
I guess we'll have to see. I mean, Hughes Jones was good last year in the Tennessee offense, so I have to wait and see on that. The defense should be good. Don't think it's going to be as good as last year, but I mean, who knows if Gordon and Brisker can step in from day one and play really good. I mean, that secondary has a lot of potential. Robert Quinn, Roquan Smith, as long as he, gets paid.
Pay Roquan Smith. Stop fucking around with that. The guy's a top 3 linebacker. Stop fucking with him.
Ooh, top 3?
Top 5. Okay, come on.
So, I mean,
I slip up one number here. Top 3? Shut up.
I mean, I'm pretty confident, like in my opinion, top 3, any order of Parsons, Leonard, and Warner. I
agree. Those are top 3, but like he's top 5.
He's arguably up there. I don't know the top of my head, but he's arguably up there.
We can make a list on TikTok, but yeah, I think he's there.
Yeah. So I think that's going to do it as long as you have nothing else to talk about for these divisions. But that is the end of our preview. And speaking of the Bears, I think they do play a week from today, right? I do think they're playing in that Hall of Fame game, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they're not. Jaguars Raiders.
The Jaguars Raiders? Maybe the Bears played them last year because I've never seen Bears.
No, it was Cowboys Steelers last year. I'm just I'm a fucking encyclopedia, dude.
The thing is, I don't know if you're even lying or not to me. I couldn't even tell. You could be.
Why would I lie? I've never lied on the internet. You know this, but I'm actually not lying this time. No bullshit.
But yeah, I mean, I think we gotta get an NBA video up in the next week or so.
I miss basketball. But can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Anybody hoping for like everybody's like, yo, where am I? I've seen so many tweets today saying, yo, where's my team highlights at? Where's all this news, all this amazing news? Let me tell you this right now. As of these next few weeks, no news is good news. Okay, you don't want to see shit. Okay, the only shit that comes out around this time is injuries. So no news, good news. That's all you're hoping for right now. If you're a competing team,
yeah, just pray for no injury news. And I mean, the thing
100%.
is like training camp. There's always going to be a couple of training camp stars that don't really get a role, right? That's just how it's going to be. And then you'll get your Jamar Chases, who's absolutely awful, worst pick in NFL history, who goes out there when season starts and is an absolute stud. I mean, you can read into training camp. I'd read more into training camp to kind of see like where guys are going to play. Like just have to, for example, I've heard Ramondre Stevenson's been the clear getting all number 1 reps so far, which is interesting. Let's wait and see.
Devontae Parker has been fucking amazing in his first training camp. Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Don't know why we just said 2 Patriot things, but
we're Patriots fans, obviously.
Don't ever put that in my mouth.
You're telling me, my boy. I put it in my own mouth. I almost threw up a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, we gotta get an NBA episode out soon. Hopefully, something can come out for us to be able to talk about. But we'll try to think of something. And then, I mean, I think once August hits, we'll start talking some more, not just more, just some fantasy football stuff. You know, we gotta start getting into that. Some people have already started the draft. It's absolutely wild. I don't think you should do a fantasy draft until preseason's over. Personally,
we've made the mistake last year.
No, we didn't.
We waited 3 weeks and still fucked up.
We didn't. Somebody
did. Yeah, we did. J.K. Dobbins and Etienne.
Yeah, but those weren't in the preseason game, though.
Yeah, they were. Both of them were. Same week.
They're same week, but we drafted after preseason, I'm pretty sure.
No, we didn't.
No,
we did not. We drafted right before preseason week 3. And J.K. Dobbins and Travis Etienne both went down that week.
That's because everybody in the league, just wanted to draft so badly.
Man, I'm itching for it, bro. I'm trying to get a mock every fucking night, but I'm with you on that. I'm not trying to draft.
I'm usually itching for it at this point in time, but I really haven't. Like, I really haven't done too much mock draft stuff. I really haven't been itching for it. Maybe it's because I'm tired of having the most points scored by far than getting 1,000 injuries at the end.
Up, dude. You made that TikTok. You know what person you are? You sleep during your draft. That's the person you are. You auto draft. Yeah.
When have I ever auto drafted?
You've auto drafted 3 years in a row. You're gonna act like different on the camera now?
For sure. For sure.
Dude, you're not the one that brings those colored spreadsheets. That's me.
No, I did that once.
What are you talking about? All right, let's end the stream.
All right. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you guys go ahead, comment, like, and subscribe. If you guys are on Spotify podcast, make sure you guys go ahead and leave a 5-star rating and follow the podcast. If that's the case, that's all. We will catch you guys later.
Bye, guys.